If you have said to yourself, I should write that, or if someone has said to you, you should write that, then I'm talking to you because you need to write. And that's why you're tuned in to yWrite. Hi, welcome to yWrite. I'm your host, Angela Grout. Thanks for tuning into this episode of yWrite. We're going to find out what writers are writing, and perhaps it's going to inspire you to write your story too. Today I have in studio a beautiful woman from Holyoke, Massachusetts, and her name is Karen Blanchard, and she has written a book called Life at the Table, and it's everyday family stories from mealtime to memories. So, it's a little bit of a memoir, and we're going to talk about how it is to write that. Let me tell you a little bit about Karen. She has served for decades helping the homeless and folks dealing with addiction and life transitions. And, we all have life transitions. So that's everybody that she's willing to help. She draws from her own experiences, and we're going to talk about that and how her own experiences help her to quietly reflect things that she's writing in her book. She is very passionate about helping people heal, and she believes the best way to start healing is by coming to the table. So today, I'm inviting her to the yWrite table here on this episode, and we're going to chat. So I want to welcome to the show Karen Blanchard.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for coming. And boy, as a fellow author, just love the colors, love how the title pops.
Yeah.
I mean,
I designed that. I saw that, because my publisher, Gary, I get, no, I want this. I created it. Just all comes from the heart. It really does.
And I mean, just the coloring of it and this red really feels like that love, and it's not like the harsh red. It's very,
I like to think of it as warm.
Candlelit warm.
Right.
Warm. I mean, and it's just so sweet seeing, I love it when a title can tell you what the book's about. Yeah. I mean, not just the title words, but the picture. Because it's really about a family, at a table.
Yeah.
And this is where we make a lot of memories.
And that's it. And that is being a lost art, I kind of can say.
Dinner time.
Nobody's eating together at the kitchen table, or the kids are on their devices, or, people are just not communicating like they used to. And if COVID taught us anything, family is important. And you could lose somebody like that, and not to have that, connectedness, it's very sad. And so I'd like to hopefully prompt people to start eating together as a family, and to join each other's company, and just talking about everyday things.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's so important. I love when, my children are a little bit older, so we'll get together at a restaurant, instead of the kitchen table, it's there.
And
but it's
okay.
like the conversation that we have, like finding out what's going on in people's, lives. And, it's just very important to stay connected and keep each other informed on each other's lives, because no one else is your better cheerleader than your family.
Absolutely.
And if they don't know what's going on in your life,
right,
they
can't
don't know.
Support you.
Yeah,
they can't support you if they don't know.
So when you decided, I have a couple questions. I have a lot of questions.
Okay, all right.
Well, when you decided to write this book, did you sit down and do an outline and say, these are the stories that I want to tell? Or what motivated you to say, I'm going to write a book? Because so many people will say, I want to write a book. I want, and going is different.
I really can't describe it. I was just so compelled to do it. It just kept nagging me that, every time I had a free moment, I'm sitting down at the computer, I'm watching TV, and I'm going, I really should be working on the book.
Yeah.
I didn't need any motivation to do it. I was constantly working on it. And of course, I have a busy life. I've got a full-time job. I play softball 3 times a week. I had a lot going on, yet I still felt compelled to write it. And it just kind of evolved by itself. You do one story and think, oh, this is a thought for another story and another story. And it just kind of evolved.
So one of the things I first noticed about this cover is the quick short chapters.
Yeah.
So as a writer, if you're going to write, 1 or 2 pages, it's not, people are like, oh, how do I write a book? Sit down and write it. And, it doesn't have to be 18 pages in a chapter. Something like this, a 1-page memory is easily digestible.
Yeah.
And the way you have this laid out, I mean, you have your nice table of contents, but I'm going to just, come on, go here, get but, you know, here it's like, you have the breakfast chaos.
Yeah.
And, you know, you can just read that chapter.
Yes.
And then you could skip over to this chapter,
right.
you know.
And you get the visual with the pictures.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's really brings it all together.
So, okay, now we're going to jump ahead. Where'd you get these visuals?
Well, I have to admit, I did use AI to
did.
create the visuals because I really wanted something soft and you know, cohesive with the chapters. And so, you know, I did work with AI for that, and it was just amazing.
And so when you work with AI, you put in, I want a family looking at the table, someone's consoling.
Exactly. You
put
just
your
put
description.
the prompts in, and it, you know, some people are afraid of AI, but it is such a tool,
Right.
you know, and as a grant writer, you know, it's really a helpful tool. I do a lot of grant writing, and you know, it really helps you put things together. I mean, it's not you know, you don't expect it to do everything, but you got to put your personal touch on it, but it's still, you know, helpful. It's a tool.
When you were doing the pictures, did you happen to come across like anything funky that AI did?
Yes, it did. And even the front cover, because I did that through AI, it made his shirt green and his shirt green. So there's two green people.
So they blended.
Yeah. And so I had to, you know, try.
Yeah.
And sometimes it just doesn't get it. It doesn't understand. I want you to just change his shirt, you know? And
well, that's the thing. Is like, I want people to know, like, if you're going to work with AI, you still are doing some of the work.
Oh, absolutely.
I had another author on here, a young girl who wrote a book, and she used AI for her pictures. And I remember her telling me, like, she had a picture of a man and he had 3 arms.
Yeah, one of my people did have like an extra arm.
So it's like,
where
don't
does this
just
arm come from?
Don't throw AI pictures in there. You got to edit them very carefully.
You really do. But it's fun to me because it's a way for me to be creative.
Yeah.
And just say, oh, I'd love to. This is what I envision. You know, can you produce it?
Yeah.
Because I don't have an art. You know, my father is an artist, a very.
Why
gifted
didn't he
artist.
draw them?
Well, he's 88 years old now, and you know,
he might have been a little slow.
Yeah, I couldn't get him to do 38 pictures. So,
yeah. So again, so you the motivation to write a book, I totally resonate with, because I get like, the universe finds the time for you to do it. You know, you really find the time to do it. Sometimes you have to carve it out a little bit, especially I feel in the editing process. Do you find that?
Thank God I have an amazing friend, and I'm going to give him a shout out for him, Verdon Hill. He is my editor, and he is one of my best friends in the whole wide world, and he does my editing for me.
That's wonderful. So. Yeah, I have a friend who is a literary specialist, and, you know, Pam Tully, thank you, and my friend Mel, I call her modern day Mel, Melissa Bermudez, and yeah, I mean, for them to comb through it, in each book I've had different friends go through that and stuff, and it's so helpful because, you know, friends understand your voice better than hiring like a stranger who's an editor. But at the same time, I mean, there's editors out there, and having someone else look at your work is really important.
Yeah, it absolutely is, because it was just the little things that he caught, you know, that I would have never caught.
Right.
You know, so it was, and plus he knows my voice and he knows me, and so that really helps, I think, in the process.
So when you were writing this, did you handwrite it? Did you type it all in?
Oh, I'm a typer.
You're a typer.
I can type 120 words a minute, so sometimes my, you know, brain, you know, my fingers go faster than my brain even.
I have that too. And I've even tried like dictating into my computer, and then I'm like, I can type this faster.
Yeah.
You know, because you have to talk slow to Surrey, and when you're on that, you know, like, okay, let's just go. Yeah. So yeah, and I can type fast, but I write really fast. So that's why I need to write it all down.
No, definitely a typer. Yeah.
So now putting it in order.
Yeah.
How did you decide? Like, you know, you have all these, I'm going to call them like individual memoirs, individual little essays. You know, do you just throw the papers up and say, where they land, that's how they go?
No, and I really was deliberate about that because I wanted something light and then something a little bit heavier. Light, heavy, light, heavy. So if you're reading the chapters, that's kind of how they are. So it's like half and half.
Okay.
And, you know, some stuff are really heavy. Other stuff is just, you know, a little on the heavier side. You know, there was just so many topics that came to mind. I mean, I finally had to just say, I got to stop.
Yeah, because there's so many things you can do at the table. There's, I mean, you know, you have playing games, you have telling memories, you have talking about food, sharing recipes, you know, like all of that.
And it was a lot, not everything is my life experience in this book, but a lot of my life experiences are part of this. I have carving pumpkins on the table. As kids, my sister and I, we were at the table, we're carving pumpkins, and we used to have this particular pinkish orangey bowl that my mother would put out and put the guts
in
it. And so I put that into the book because those are childhood memories, and even coloring Easter eggs. We had these special cups with the
little metal handles,
and we would have the things to dip the and so it's all these memories would come flooding back, and I just wanted to share that with everybody, because I'm hoping a lot of people had the same shared memory.
That's what I say. That's why writing is so important.
Yeah.
That's why, whether it's memoir writing, especially because people are like, oh, why would I want to read your story?
Right.
Well, it's all of our stories are intertwined, and sometimes it just helps to read someone else's to spark your own memery, and that provides healing. So, we're getting into, how you like to help people and help them to heal and find them homes, and and it's like, in order to heal, you have to be heard.
Yeah.
And if someone's hearing your story, they go, oh, I'm being heard. That's my story. I colored Easter eggs like that. I had a gut bucket for my pumpkins. So I always, just know that everyone has that story inside them. And whether they want to share it in a book or they just need to remember it in their own head to heal them.
And a good friend of mine made a comment to me. She goes, well, this is you as a middle-class white girl, their memories. Other cultures would have different memories and different things that they did at the table.
Which makes for great conversation. Because if you've shared your experience and now you're sitting with someone from another culture and they're like, what are pumpkin guts, or because maybe they didn't do that. Or they share what they did and they're like, oh, we used to play this card game, and they're telling you about international rummy that we've, someone's never heard of.
Or playing mahjong. And
it's again, more conversation to have at a table with more people. And it's reading this, I think, will allow people to, especially people who are like shy, to have conversations with other people, because they'd be like, oh, I read this book and this woman talked about XYZ at the table, and and now opening a conversation for someone else to share their story.
And I think some of the things I have in are pretty universal. So one of them is talking about, what if I won the lottery?
Ooh,
Like, who doesn't talk about that at some point in their lives, either at a restaurant or at the dinner table, or I would.
But we can't say what if, it's when we win the lottery.
I know. When I do win that lottery.
When I win the lottery. So, what was your favorite part about writing?
Oh, God. I just love to write. Like I said, as a grant writer, I just love to write, and I always have. And it was funny. I was thinking of the story just the other night when I was in junior high school. I was a junior in high school, and my English teacher, for some reason, didn't like me. And I would be doing these book reports, and of course, I was a big Star Trek fan. Okay, so I would do my book reports on Star Trek, and she hated it. And, she pretty much almost flunked me. And if you don't pass English, you don't go on to the next grade.
But you were writing, and you're writing in English, so you're
I know. And so I hate this. She got pregnant halfway through, and so I got a substitute teacher, so I got passed into the next grade. And ever since then, I kept saying, someday I'm going to show her, and I'm going to be a writer. And look at where I am, grant writing and book writing. And
and a lot of people, not a lot, but some of the people I've talked to, and I've had similar experiences. I've been writing since a young child. I've been doing poetry. And then it's like when you start to share your voice with and especially in the high school years, all of a sudden, I had a teacher who, the paper came back with red pen marks all over it, and it was devastating. And she didn't listen to the story part. She was so hung up on correcting the grammar and all stuff, which, as a writer, I've learned, you got to get the story on the page and then worry about that afterwards.
That's what Grammarly is for, okay?
Get that Grammarly out. But with your, teacher maybe not liking the genre you wrote.
Yes, and I think that's absolutely what it was. But at the time, that's what I loved. That was my passion, is reading those kind of science fiction books. And she just didn't get it.
Yeah, no, and it's hard because you know, and that's why writing is so great because there's so many different genres to go to. So it's like if you don't do one, you can do another. Just read, you know, just read. Write what you're passionate about.
Right.
You know, as long as it's not going to hurt anybody.
Right.
That's what I always say.
No.
Don't give an instruction on how to do anything hurtful. That's my big thing. What's your favorite chapters?
Oh my goodness! Well,
do you have a favorite chapter? Well, how do you pick one in all these? 38?
Well, it is a lot. You know, the personal ones are great. You know, but even I love playing games at the table. You know, card games, board games. You know, whatever it is. And I have a girlfriend who I feel that she's part of my family, and I would go to her house, and she has like 6 brothers, and
big
sister,
family,
a huge family, and they would have these knockout, drag out, board games and everything. Oh, you cheated! And it was just so fun. And it was just, but even my own family, we played cards and things.
Do you have a big family?
No, not a big family, just an older sister and a younger brother. But I have I involved with a science fiction group, and when we get together, sometimes we play games, and so it's really a lot of fun. I really enjoy.
Well, and it's nice to have the break from reality and to, make your reality into this, game and it makes memory.
Yeah, and I'm very competitive, so it's like, I want a good partner.
She may be petite, but she's got spunk.
Yeah, definitely competition is my middle name. So anybody who knows me will tell you that.
All right, so we've talked about how you get motivated to write a story, how story kind of just evolves, sitting down, actually doing it and editing it thing. Yeah. Now I want to talk to you a little bit about publishing it, because this is a journey that so many authors get kind of stuck in, because they'll start querying big publishing companies. Then they're like, do I self-publish? How do I do this? And how did you decide to do how you did it?
I was considering self-publishing, and then, but you got to have the right format. And come to find out, I didn't even know Kindle is a different format than the published book. And so I happened to see your interview with Mike Torville. Oh. And I called him up right away, and I said, Mike, you wrote another book. I knew he was an author up until then, and especially with Astrid and everything. But he said, yeah, I'm going through, Gary at the
Burning Bulb
Publishing. I said, well, you have to contact, make the introduction, and he did, and he is just so wonderful. Oh. We had like a talk for about an hour on the phone, and he is just a wonderful guy.
I met Gary years ago that he was filming a movie here in town. Which was the Jack Jonah story, which Kurt Jonah, who's on the show and talked about that. Yeah. So I had met him then, and then I'm going to say maybe 50 episodes ago. I don't know. I had him on the show talking about Burning Bulb. He loves making horror movies, and he's a little bit more of like a graphic horror writer type thing. Yeah. But he's an actor and he has a publishing company.
See, I didn't know all that about him.
And he was just fascinating to talk to. And he actually just published, and I didn't bring my newest baby, but my new book, Being in My Breast, who just came out 3 weeks ago with Gary. Awesome. So he was wonderful to work with.
He did. He really helped with the formatting and then making it into Kindle, and he did the audio book. It's like, I had really thought I could.
Have you listened to it?
Oh, yes.
Oh my God! I just listened to my book on Audible a few weeks ago. I was like, I'm hearing my muse. This is amazing.
That's it. Because I read to the blind every week. Valley
Radio, yes.
And it's like, I could do my book into it, but it's so complicated, and you've got to know how to edit it just right, and he just did it all for me, so I can't say how appreciative. It would have taken another year for me to get it on audio, so he just did it.
It's great. I mean, I have a book called Dear Baby Get Out, which is the final days of pregnancy, and I actually use that book when I teach writing classes, stuff about if you have a baby inside you, if you have that book inside you, you're the only one who can give birth to it. Right. I mean, you can get, a little bit of an epidural, but you still have to do the labor. And that one I've recorded as an audiobook, but I haven't uploaded it yet because it's, I mean, it was a lot of time sitting in the studio to record each chapter.
Yes.
And, now I have them all, but I need to upload it, which is on my 2026 to-do list. Because it's been sitting there for a year and a half. And I'm like, all right, I need to do this. But, yeah, when you get a publisher and they're willing to do all that, it's wonderful.
It just got it out so good. And he got it out right before Christmas. I go, you are amazing. Because I didn't think it was going to happen.
Yeah.
So, of course, I'm putting it on Facebook for all my friends and family for that last-minute gift idea. Give this to your, family. And I've been going to wakes and other events, and they're going, oh, you got to sign my book for me. And I'm like, I will, I promise.
So, how are you marketing this? I mean, it's obviously social media. Word of mouth is always huge.
Word of mouth. It is on Amazon. I'm just starting out. This was just published in December. So I'm really trying to find marketing. Mike Torville gave me an idea for a book I should read about marketing my book, and so that's on order, and hopefully it's coming in soon. So to me, this is just a really fun process to learn how to do this, and so I'll be prepared for the next book that I
love it. We're talking about another book.
And then I have
she got bit by the bug.
I have so many ideas, and this book I worked on for about 6 months.
Okay, that was
the one I'm like 90% done with. I've been working on it for a year. The edits, the back and the forth. But that one has more interviews into it, and I had to reach out to people and get their stories. So that took a lot longer.
Do you have to have them sign a release that you can use it?
No, they're just mostly friends, and they just say, yeah, I'll talk to you.
Okay.
So these aren't strangers. These are all people I know. My cousin Dennis,
Well, I mean, it's interesting because, there's different processes to writing and different processes to protect our writing.
Right.
So, that's important. And there's different processes on how long it takes a story to be written. Yeah. And I like sharing this because I feel like it helps other writers, but I wrote Angel's Journey in 9 hours.
Yeah, I saw that one year into it. How did you do that?
I did have memories and stuff for about a year, but it just like poured out. Dear Baby Get Out, I did in about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
This one took over 20 years.
Yeah, well, that's it. I'm going, I've had this for a year. Because I had the topic, but I needed that personal story to go with it. And so it just took so long to find somebody who had that experience that I could use as the personal story. So,
that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's really great. So I love that you're working on something else.
I am. I'll come back to it. It's about nourishing the soul.
Okay.
So I can release.
Okay, I was going to say, do we have a title or at least the synopsis?
It's about nourishing the soul, and it just that one I really feel was divinely inspired. It just really came to me and says, you've got to write something about it, because I've had so many of my own experiences. So I've got those in the book, and then I wanted other people's experiences too for what
nice.
So.
Yeah, no, and I resonate with the divinely inspired because I was divinely inspired to write a murder mystery, which I so many times be like, why am I doing this? Like, can I write something else? But the story finds you.
Yeah, it does. It does. I'm driving in the car and it's like, oh, that's a good topic. Yes. Why don't I put that in the book? I can't tell you how many things prompted me.
So if you're in the car, do you dictate into your phone?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. I've got the whole notes app in my phone, and I'm going.
Yeah.
Or even a title to another book.
Yeah.
I see something and I go, oh, that's a great title for a book. Yeah. Either you're listening to the radio on a song and there's a little thing in the song going, I could make a book out of that.
This is the thing. Inspiration is everywhere.
And I love being creative.
What comes to you isn't always for you.
Right.
But if it sticks and it gets you passionately writing and stuff, then it was meant for you to tell.
And like I said, just compelled every single night I'm working. Even one chapter on the book, just something to be working on the book so I know I accomplished something.
Yeah. And again, because your chapters are
short and sweet.
It makes it for... I'm going to use the word digestible again. Digestible read. You could binge the whole thing.
Yeah.
But you can also read it almost like a very prayerful thing. Okay, tonight I'm just going to read, the college acceptance letter.
Yes.
Oh, I love that one. That's cool. Yes. And it's like, you could read this and then that makes your conversation with someone else for that day. And I like that so that, for the readers out there, it's almost like your to-do list for the day. It can be a very prayerful thing.
Yeah, and I try not to get too controversial because I do talk a little bit about politics.
Yeah, well, that happens at the table.
It happens at the table, and it really does. And there was something very passionate that had come out in the news at the time. and I kind of had to put that in because it was near and dear to my heart. Is about
don't tell us. That's a really good cliffhanger. That makes you want to buy the book. What is it?
Something in the new. And I said, I got to put this in my book, and it just really resonated with me a lot. And so I sports, okay, because I'm a big sports person, and I talk about the Mets weren't winning the World Series, but then I turn it when actually the Red Sox won the World Series after all those years, and the first the disappointment of Red Sox fans having the Mets win, and then you've got the the Red Sox people, oh my God, we won the World Series, and so it's just the emotion and listening to the the commentators saying they've won, they've made it, and so that was just a lot of fun to write that kind of.
What I just listening to the enthusiasm that you have and the passion you have, that comes through in your writing, which is always fun to read when you're listening to someone who is so energetic about it.
Yeah, there are just so many passionate things, But I mean, I have the heavy stuff about a diagnosis, Mom comes home, says I've been to the doctors, it's like, so the kids are scared, what's going to happen next, and
so I'm going to put a plug out there that I think if you're going to someone's house for dinner, what a great gift!
I know, don't you think?
Or you're looking to make plans with your friends to start having monthly dinners, great gift,
Right.
So
absolutely.
This is a great book to own, to read, and to gift. So congratulations on it.
Absolutely.
Where can people get the book?
It's on Amazon.
Okay.
But make sure, there's a lot of Life at the Table Amazon books, so you got to make sure you put,
Okay. Well, here you see the cover right here. All right, so they can go to Amazon. If they want more information about you or how to get in touch with you, or if someone's local want to plan like a book signing, get you find out about your book tour, how do they get in touch with you?
Yeah, email me at blanchardk930@gmail.com. Would love to hear from you. Love to hear about your stories, because what if I do a second book? I want to put other stories in, and so
they can email you a story.
Absolutely. Looking for feedback and what another topic I could add.
That would be cool to do an anthology, because then other people's stories are in there.
And a lot of people said they would like to have seen it expanded, particular stories. We want to see what really happens with that story, because again, it's just snippets at the table.
Oh, you just gave me a good idea. It'd be really cool to make this into a little play.
I know.
Each little chapter.
It would.
Ooh, all right. We'll talk more. We'll talk more after.
So fun.
All right.
About that.
We got to wrap up because the ideas can start flowing. Thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been more than a pleasure to get to know you and your writing and all of that. And I'm glad that we share a publisher.
Yes.
Shout out to Gary Vincent
and friends, Mike Torville,
and friends.
Kurt
Yes.
Jonah.
I mean, this is one of the things about being an author is networking.
Yes.
And
meeting such wonderful people on the journey.
I mean, this is why I started the show. Is I had questions of why people were writing and trying to build my own confidence. And as I'm sitting in coffee shops with other authors, I'm like, if I'm asking these questions, other people have these questions. So I'm like, let's do the show and not only answer the questions that I want answered, but to explore the curiosity of what people are writing, so people can read their books, because we need exposure, and the best way to get an audience is word of mouth. Read the book, write a review. That helps the author. Share it on your social media.
Yes, I need reviews on Amazon. Everybody put your reviews on Amazon.
Me too. So do that. All right. Again, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yes.
This is the time in the program where my listeners who are writers know I like to give a writing prompt.
Okay.
Because if they want to write, and I'm using.
Please do.
You, and who knows, maybe they want to email you this story.
Yeah, absolutely.
But today, when the show ends, I want you to take your timer for 10 minutes, and I want you to sit down at a table, take out a pen and piece of paper, and I want you to share a story about a time you were at the table having dinner with someone, whether it's at your childhood table, your family dinner, maybe it's a time you went out to dinner with your friends, or you're, at a restaurant, maybe you overheard something at another table and you want to share that. Whatever it is, but whatever story you want to write, you're welcome to write it at the table. So sit down, take 10 minutes and write a story about some time where you sat at a table and shared a meal. Tell us about the meal, tell us about the conversation, tell us about what happened there. And that's your writing prompt for today. Your other assignment today, as Karen and I were talking about, is if you've read somebody's book, go to Amazon, write a review for them.
Yes.
It's very important. Share it on your social media that if you've read someone's book and what you loved about it, so that other people know that it's a book worth reading, because that is how authors get their voices heard, how they get their books purchased, and how you can help them. So again, thank you for joining in on another episode of yWrite. Thank you for subscribing to the YouTube channel and watching it on whatever streaming services that you have. Thank you to 954 here in Agawam Media Studio for letting me put this show on, and I will see you next time. Have a great day.